Sundance by Robert Silverberg. Originally published in the June 1969 issue of the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction, which republished it in their 1971 anthology, The Best from Fantasy and Science Fiction 19th Series. Other anthology inclusions, far too numerous to list here, include Valence and Vision, A Reader in Psychology in 1974, Beyond Tomorrow in 1976, From Heinlein to Here in 1979, and Great Science Fiction of the 20th Century in 1987. Appearances in collections of the author's tales include The Cube Root of Uncertainty in 1970, Sundance and Other Science Fiction Stories in 1974, and The Best of Robert Silverberg in 1976. Read by Darrell T. Smith II for my channel, Quasar Spectra. Sundance. Today you liquidated about 50,000 eaters in Sector A, and now you are spending an uneasy night. You and Herndon flew east at dawn with the green-gold sunrise at your backs and sprayed the neural pellets over 1,000 hectares along the forked river. You flew on into the prairie beyond the river where the eaters have already been wiped out and had lunch sprawled on that thick, soft carpet of grass where the first settlement is expected to rise. Herndon picked some juice flowers, and you enjoyed half an hour of mild hallucinations. Then, as you headed toward the copter to begin an afternoon of further pellet spraying, he said suddenly, "Tom, how would you feel about this if it turned out that the eaters weren't just animal pests, that they were people, say, with a language and rights and a history and all?" You thought of how it had been for your own people. "They aren't," you said. "Suppose they were. Suppose the eaters—" "They aren't. Drop it." Herndon has this streak of cruelty in him that leads him to ask such questions. He goes for the vulnerabilities. It amuses him. All night now his casual remark has echoed in your mind. Suppose the eaters... Suppose the eaters... Suppose... You sleep for a while and dream, and in your dreams you swim through rivers of blood. Foolishness. A feverish fantasy. You know how important it is to exterminate the eaters fast, before the settlers get here. They're just animals, and not even harmless animals at that. Ecology wreckers is what they are, devourers of oxygen-liberating plants, and they have to go. A few have been saved for zoological study. The rest must be destroyed. Ritual extirpation of undesirable beings, the old story. But let's not complicate our job with moral qualms, you tell yourself. Let's not dream of rivers of blood. The eaters don't even have blood. None that could flow in rivers anyway. What they have is, well, a kind of lymph that permeates every tissue and transmits nourishment along the interfaces. Waste products go out the same way, osmotically. In terms of process, it's structurally analogous to your own kind of circulatory system, except there's no network of blood vessels hooked to a master pump. The life stuff just oozes through their bodies, as though they were amoebas or sponges or some other low phylum form. Yet they're definitely high phylum in nervous system, digestive setup, limb and organ template, etc. Odd, you think. The thing about aliens is that they're alien, you tell yourself, not for the first time. The beauty of their biology for you and your companions is that it lets you exterminate them so neatly. You fly over the grazing grounds and drop the neural pellets. The eaters find and ingest them. Within an hour, the poison has reached all sectors of the body. Life ceases. A rapid breakdown of cellular matter follows. The eater literally falling apart, molecule by molecule. The instant that nutrition is cut off, the lymph-like stuff works like acid. A universal lysis occurs. Flesh and even the bones, which are cartilaginous, dissolve. In 2 hours, a puddle on the ground. In 4, nothing at all left. Considering how many millions of eaters you've scheduled for extermination here, it's sweet of the bodies to be self-disposing. Otherwise, what a charnel house this world would become. Suppose the eaters... Damn Herndon. You almost feel like getting a memory editing in the morning. Scrape his stupid speculations out of your head. If you dared. If you dared. In the morning, he does not dare. Memory editing frightens him. He will try to shake free of his newfound guilt without it. The eaters, he explains to himself, are mindless herbivores, the unfortunate victims of human expansionism, but not really deserving of passionate defense. Their extermination is not tragic, it's just too bad. If Earthmen are to have this world, the eaters must relinquish it. There's a difference, he tells himself, between the elimination of the Plains Indians from the American prairie in the 19th century and the destruction of the bison on that same prairie. One feels a little wistful about the slaughter of the thundering herds. One regrets the butchering of millions of the noble brown woolly beasts, yes, but one feels outrage, not mere wistful regret, at what was done to the Sioux. There's a difference. Reserve your passions for the proper cause. He walks from his bubble at the edge of the camp toward the center of things. The flagstone path is moist and glistening. The morning fog has not yet lifted, and every tree is bowed, the long, notched leaves heavy with droplets of water. He pauses, crouching, to observe a spider analog spinning its asymmetrical web. As he watches, a small amphibian, delicately shaded turquoise, glides as inconspicuously as possible over the mossy ground. Not inconspicuously enough. He gently lifts the little creature and puts it on the back of his hand. The gills flutter in anguish, and the amphibian's sides quiver. Slowly, cunningly, its color changes until it matches the coppery tone of the hand. The camouflage is excellent. He lowers his hand, and the amphibian scurries into a puddle. He walks on. He is 40 years old, shorter than most of the other members of the expedition, with wide shoulders, a heavy chest, dark, glossy hair, a blunt, spreading nose. He is a biologist. This is his third career, for he has failed as an anthropologist and as a developer of real estate. His name is Tom Two Ribbons. He has been married twice, but he has had no children. His great-grandfather died of alcoholism. His grandfather was addicted to hallucinogens. His father had compulsively visited cheap memory editing parlors. Tom Two Ribbons is conscious that he is failing a family tradition, but he has not yet found his own mode of self-destruction. In the main building, he discovers Herndon, Julia, Ellen, Schwartz, Chang, Michelson, and Nichols. They are eating breakfast. The others are already at work. Ellen rises and comes to him and kisses him. Her short, soft yellow hair tickles his cheeks. "I love you," she whispers. She has spent the night in Michelson's bubble. "I love you," he tells her, and draws a quick vertical line of affection between her small, pale breasts. He winks at Michelson, who nods, touches the tips of 2 fingers to his lips, and blows them a kiss. We're all good friends here, Tom Two Ribbons thinks. "Who drops pellets today?" he asks. "Mike and Chang," says Julia. "Sector C." Schwartz says, 11 more days and we ought to have the whole peninsula clear. Then we can move inland." "If our pellet supply holds up," Chang points out. Herndon says, "Did you sleep well, Tom?" "No," says Tom. He sits down and taps out his breakfast requisition. In the west, the fog is beginning to burn off the mountains. Something throbs in the back of his neck. He has been on this world 9 weeks now, and in that time it has undergone its only change of season, shading from dry weather to foggy. The mists will remain for many months. Before the plains parch again, the eaters will be gone and the settlers will begin to arrive. His food slides down the chute and he seizes it. Ellen sits beside him. She's a little more than half his age. This is her first voyage. She is their keeper of records, but she is also skilled at editing. "You look troubled," Ellen tells him. "Can I help you?" "No, thank you." "I hate it when you get gloomy." "It's a racial trait," says Tom Two Ribbons. "I doubt that very much." "The truth is that maybe my personality reconstruct is wearing thin. The trauma level was so close to the surface. I'm just a walking veneer, you know." Ellen laughs prettily. She wears only a spray-on half-wrap. Her skin looks damp. She and Michelson have had a swim at dawn. Tom Two Ribbons is thinking of asking her to marry him when this job is over. He has not been married since the collapse of the real estate business. The therapist suggested divorce as part of the reconstruct. He sometimes wonders where Terry is gone and whom she lives with now. Ellen says, "You seem pretty stable to me, Tom." "Thank you," he says. She is young. She does not know. "If it's just a passing gloom, I can edit it out in one quick snip." "Thank you," he says. "No." "I forgot. You don't like editing." "My father—" "Yes?" "In 50 years, he pared himself down to a thread," Tom Two Ribbons says. "He had his ancestors edited away, his whole heritage, his religion, his wife, his sons, finally his name. Then he sat and smiled all day. Thank you, no editing." "Where are you working today?" Ellen asks. "In the compound, running tests." "Want company? I'm off all morning." "Thank you, no," he says, too quickly. She looks hurt. He tries to remedy his unintended cruelty by touching her arm lightly and saying, "Maybe this afternoon, all right? I need to commune a while. Yes?" "Yes," she says, and smiles, and shapes a kiss with her lips. After breakfast, he goes to the compound. It covers 1,000 hectares east of the base. They have bordered it with neural field projectors at intervals of 80 meters, and this is a sufficient fence to keep the captive population of 200 eaters from straying. When all the others have been exterminated, this study group will remain. At the southwest corner of the compound stands a lab bubble from which the experiments are run. Metabolic, psychological, physiological, ecological. A stream crosses the compound diagonally. There is a low ridge of grassy hills at its eastern edge. 5 distinct copses of tightly clustered knife-blade trees are separated by patches of dense savanna. Sheltered beneath the grass are the oxygen plants, almost completely hidden except for the photosynthetic spikes that jut to heights of 3 or 4 meters at regular intervals, and for the lemon-colored respiratory bodies, chest high, that make the grassland sweet and dizzying with exhaled gases. Through the fields move the eaters, in a straggling herd, nibbling delicately at the respiratory bodies. Tom Two Ribbons spies the herd beside the stream and goes toward it. He stumbles over an oxygen plant hidden in the grass, but deftly recovers his balance and, seizing the puckered orifice of the respiratory body, inhales deeply. His despair lifts. He approaches the eaters. They are spherical, bulky, slow-moving creatures covered by masses of coarse orange fur. Saucer-like eyes protrude above narrow, rubbery lips. Their legs are thin and scaly, like a chicken's, and their arms are short and held close to their bodies. They regard him with bland lack of curiosity. "Good morning, brothers," is the way he greets them this time, and he wonders why. "I noticed something strange today. Perhaps I simply sniffed too much oxygen in the fields. Maybe I was succumbing to a suggestion Herndon planted, Or possibly it's the family masochism cropping out. But while I was observing the eaters in the compound, it seemed to me for the first time that they were behaving intelligently, that they were functioning in a ritualized way. I followed them around for 3 hours. During that time, they uncovered half a dozen outcroppings of oxygen plants. In each case, they went through a stylized pattern of action before starting to munch. They formed a straggly circle around the plants, looked toward the sun, looked toward their neighbors on left and right around the circle, made fuzzy neighing sounds only after having done the foregoing, looked toward the sun again, moved in and ate. If this wasn't a prayer of thanksgiving, a saying of grace, then what was it? And if they're advanced enough spiritually to say grace, are we not therefore committing genocide here? Do chimpanzees say grace? Christ, we wouldn't even wipe out chimps the way we're cleaning out the eaters. Of course, chimps don't interfere with human crops, and some kind of coexistence would be possible, whereas eaters and human agriculturists simply can't function on the same planet. Nevertheless, there's a moral issue here. The liquidation effort is predicated on the assumption that the intelligence level of the eaters is about on a par with that of oysters, or at best, sheep. Our consciences stay clear because our poison is quick and painless, and because the eaters thoughtfully dissolve upon dying, sparing us the mess of incinerating millions of corpses. But if they pray? I won't say anything to the others just yet. I want more evidence, hard, objective, films, tapes, record cubes. Then we'll see. What if I can show that we're exterminating intelligent beings? My family knows little about genocide, after all, having been on the receiving end just a few centuries back. I doubt that I could halt what's going on here, but at the very least I could withdraw from the operation, head back to Earth, and stir up public outcries. I hope I'm imagining this. I'm not imagining a thing. They gather in circles. They look to the sun. They neigh and pray. They're only balls of jelly on chicken legs, but they give thanks for their food. Those big, round eyes now seem to stare accusingly at me. Our tame herd here knows what's going on, that we have descended from the stars to eradicate their kind, and that they alone will be spared. They have no way of fighting back or even of communicating their displeasure, but they know and hate us. Jesus, we have killed 2 million of them since we got here, and in a metaphorical way, I'm stained with blood. And what will I do? What can I do? I must move very carefully, or I'll end up drugged and edited. I can't let myself seem like a crank, a quack, an agitator. I can't stand up and denounce. I have to find allies. Herndon first. He surely is on to the truth. He's the one who nudged me to it. That day we dropped pellets, and I thought he was merely being vicious in his usual way. I'll talk to him tonight. He says, I've been thinking about that suggestion you made about the eaters. Perhaps we haven't made sufficiently close psychological studies. I mean, if they really are intelligent. Herndon blinks. He is a tall man with glossy, dark hair, a heavy beard, sharp cheekbones. Who says they are, Tom? You did. On the far side of the forked river, you said, it was just a speculative hypothesis, to make conversation. No, I think it was more than that. You really believed it. Herndon looks troubled. Tom, I don't know what you're trying to start, but don't start it. If I for a moment believed we were killing intelligent creatures, I'd run for an editor so fast I'd start an implosion wave. Why did you ask me that thing, then? Tom Two Ribbons says. Idle chatter. Amusing yourself by kindling guilt in somebody else? You're a bastard, Herndon. I mean it. Well, look, Tom, if I had any idea that you'd get so worked up about a hypothetical suggestion. Herndon shakes his head. The eaters aren't intelligent beings, obviously. Otherwise, we wouldn't be under orders to liquidate them. Obviously, says Tom Two Ribbons. Ellen said, No, I don't know what Tom's up to, but I'm pretty sure he needs a rest. It's only a year and a half since his personality reconstruct, and he had a pretty bad breakdown back then. Michelson consulted a chart. He's refused 3 times in a row to make his pellet dropping run, claiming he can't take time away from his research. Hell, we can fill in for him, but it's the idea that he's ducking chores that bothers me. What kind of research is he doing? Nicholson wanted to know. Not biological, said Julia. He's with the eaters in the compound all the time, but I don't see him making any tests on them. He just watches them. And talks to them, Chang observed. And talks, yes, Julia said. About what? Nichols asked. Who knows? Everyone looked at Ellen. You're closest to him, Michelson said. Can't you bring him out of it? I've got to know what he's in first, Ellen said. He isn't saying a thing. You know that you must be very careful, for they outnumber you, and their concern for your mental welfare can be deadly. Already they realize you are disturbed, and Ellen has begun to probe for the source of the disturbance. Last night you lay in her arms, and she questioned you, obliquely, skillfully, and you knew what she's trying to find out. When the moons appeared, she suggested that you and she stroll in the compound among the sleeping eaters. You declined, but she sees that you have become involved with the creatures. You have done probing of your own, subtly, you hope, and you are aware that you can do nothing to save the eaters. An irrevocable commitment has been made. It is 1876 all over again. These are the bison, these are the Sioux, and they must be destroyed, for the railroad is on its way. If you speak out here, your friends will calm you and pacify you and edit you, for they do not see what you see. If you return to Earth to agitate, you will be mocked and recommended for another reconstruct. You can do nothing. You can do nothing. You cannot save, but perhaps you can record. Go out into the prairie. Live with the eaters. Make yourself their friend. Learn their ways. Set it down, a full account of their culture, so that at least that much will not be lost. You know the techniques of field anthropology, as was done for your people in the old days. Do now for the eaters. He finds Michelson. Can you spare me for a few weeks? He asks. Spare you, Tom? What do you mean? I've got some field studies to do. I'd like to leave the base and work with eaters in the wild. What's wrong with the ones in the compound? It's the last chance with wild ones, Mike. I've got to go. Alone or with Ellen? Alone. Michelson nods slowly. All right, Tom. Whatever you want. Go. I won't hold you here. I dance in the prairie under the green gold sun. About me, the eaters gather. I am stripped. Sweat makes my skin glisten. My heart pounds. I talk to them with my feet, and they understand. They understand. They have a language of soft sounds. They have a God. They know love and awe and rapture. They have rights. They have names. They have a history. Of all this I am convinced. I dance on thick grass. How can I reach them? With my feet, with my hands, with my grunts, with my sweat. They gather by the hundreds, by the thousands, and I dance. I must not stop. They cluster about me and make their sounds. I am a conduit for strange forces. My great-grandfather should see me now, sitting on his porch in Wyoming, the firewater in his hand, his brain rotting. See me now, old one. See the dance of Tom Two Ribbons. I talk to these strange ones with my feet under a sun that is the wrong color. I dance. I dance. Listen to me, I say. I am your friend. I alone, the only one you can trust. Trust me. Talk to me. Teach me. Let me preserve your ways, for soon the destruction will come. I dance, and the sun climbs, and the eaters murmur. There is the chief. I dance toward him, back, toward. I bow. I point to the sun. I imagine the being that lives in that ball of flame. I imitate the sounds of these people. I kneel. I rise. I dance. Tom Two Ribbons dances for you. I summon skills my ancestors forgot. I feel the power flowing in me. As they danced in the days of the bison, I dance now, beyond the forked river. I dance, and now the eaters dance too. Slowly, uncertainly, they move toward me. They shift their weight, lift leg and leg, sway about. Yes, like that, I cry. Dance! We dance together as the sun reaches noon height. Now their eyes are no longer accusing. I see warmth and kinship. I am their brother, their red-skinned tribesman, he who dances with them. No longer do they seem clumsy to me. There is a strange, ponderous grace in their movements. They dance. They dance. They caper about me, closer, closer, closer. We move in holy frenzy. They sing now, a blurred hymn of joy. They throw forth their arms, unclench their little claws. In unison, they shift weight, left foot forward, right, left, right. Dance, brothers, dance, dance, dance! They press against me. Their flesh quivers. Their smell is a sweet one. They gently thrust me across the field to a part of the meadow where the grass is deep and untrampled. Still dancing, we seek for the oxygen plants and find clumps of them beneath the grass, and they make their prayer and seize them with their awkward arms, separating the respiratory bodies from the photosynthetic spikes. The plants, in anguish, release floods of oxygen. My mind reels. I laugh and sing. The eaters are nibbling the lemon-colored perforated globes, nibbling the stalks as well. They thrust their plants at me. It is a religious ceremony, I see. Take from us, eat with us, join with us. This is the body, this is the blood. Take, eat, join. I bend forward and put a lemon-colored globe to my lips. I do not bite. I nibble as they do, my teeth slicing away the skin of the globe. Juice spurts into my mouth while oxygen drenches my nostrils. The eaters sing hosannas. I should be in full paint for this, paint of my forefathers. Feathers, too, meeting their religion in the regalia of what should have been mine. Take, eat, join. The juice of the oxygen plant flows in my veins. I embrace my brothers. I sing, and as my voice leaves my lips, it becomes an arch that glistens like new steel, and I pitch my song lower, and the arch turns to tarnished silver. The eaters crowd close. The scent of their bodies is fiery red to me. Their soft cries are puffs of steam. The sun is very warm. Its rays are tiny, jagged pings of puckered sound close to the top of my range of hearing. Plink, plink, plink. The thick grass hums to me, deep and rich, and the wind hurls points of flame along the prairie. I devour another oxygen plant, and then a third. My brothers laugh and shout. They tell me of their gods, the god of warmth, the god of food, the god of pleasure, the god of death, the god of holiness, the god of wrongness, and the others. They recite for me the names of their kings, and I hear their voices as splashes of green mold on the clean sheet of the sky. They instruct me in their holy rites. I must remember this, I tell myself, for when it is gone, it will never come again. I continue to dance. They continue to dance. The color of the hills becomes rough and coarse like abrasive gas. Take, eat, join, dance. They are so gentle. I hear the drone of the copter suddenly. It hovers far overhead. I am unable to see who flies in it. No, I scream. Not here. Not these people. Listen to me. This is Tom Two Ribbons. Can't you hear me? I'm doing a field study here. You have no right. My voice makes spirals of blue moss edged with red sparks. They drift upward and are scattered by the breeze. I yell, I shout, I bellow. I dance and shake my fists. From the wings of the copter, the jointed arms of the pellet distributors unfold. The gleaming spigots extend and whirl. The neural pellets rain down into the meadow, each tracing a blazing track that lingers in the sky. The sound of the copter becomes a furry carpet stretching to the horizon, and my shrill voice is lost in it. The eaters drift away from me, seeking the pellets, scratching at the roots of the grass to find them. Still dancing, I leap into their midst, striking the pellets from their hands, hurling them into the stream, crushing them to powder. The eaters growl black needles at me. They turn away and search for more pellets. The copter turns and flies off, leaving a trail of dense, oily sound. My brothers are gobbling the pellets eagerly. There is no way to prevent it. Joy consumes them, and they topple and lie still. Occasionally a limb twitches, then even this stops. They begin to dissolve. Thousands of them melt on the prairie, sinking into shapelessness, losing their spherical forms, flattening, ebbing into the ground. The bonds of the molecules will no longer hold. It is the twilight of protoplasm. They perish. They vanish. For hours I walk the prairie. Now I inhale oxygen. Now I eat a lemon-colored globe. Sunset begins with the ringing of leaden chimes. Black clouds make brazen trumpet calls in the east, and the deepening wind is a swirl of coaly bristles. Silence comes. Night falls. I dance. I am alone. The copter comes again, and they find you, and you do not resist as they gather you in. You are beyond bitterness. Quietly, you explain what you have done and what you have learned and why it is wrong to exterminate these people. You describe the plant you have eaten and the way it affects your senses, and as you talk of the blessed synesthesia, the texture of the wind and the sound of the clouds and the timbre of the sunlight, they nod and smile and tell you not to worry, that everything will be all right soon, and they touch something cold to your forearm, so cold that it is almost into the ultraviolet, where you cannot see it, and there is a whir and a buzz, and the de-intoxicant sinks into your vein, and soon the ecstasy drains away, leaving only the exhaustion and the grief. He says, "We never learn a thing, do we? We export all our horrors to the stars, wipe out the Armenians, wipe out the Jews, wipe out the Tasmanians, wipe out the Indians, wipe out everyone who's in the way, and then come out here and do the same damned murderous thing. You weren't with me out there. You didn't dance with them. You didn't see what a rich, complex culture the eaters have. Let me tell you about their tribal structure. It's dense, 7 levels of matrimonial relationships to begin with, and an exogamy factor that requires..." Softly, Ellen says, "Tom, darling, nobody's going to harm the eaters. And the religion," he goes on, 9 gods, each one an aspect of the God. Holiness and wrongness both worshipped. They have hymns, prayers, a theology, and we, the emissaries of the God of wrongness, we're not exterminating them," Michelson says. "Won't you understand that, Tom? This is all a fantasy of yours. You've been under the influence of drugs, but now we're clearing you out. You'll be clean in a little while. You'll have perspective again. A fantasy, he says bitterly. A drug dream? I stood out in the prairie and saw you drop pellets, and I watched them die and melt away. I didn't dream that. How can we convince you? Chang asks earnestly. What will make you believe? Shall we fly over the Eater country with you and show you how many millions there are? But how many millions have been destroyed? He demands. They insist that he is wrong. Ellen tells him again that no one has ever desired to harm the Eaters. This is a scientific expedition, Tom. We're here to study them. It's a violation of all we stand for to injure intelligent life forms. You admit that they're intelligent? Of course. That's never been in doubt. Then why drop the pellets? He asks. Why slaughter them? None of that has happened, Tom, Ellen says. She takes his hand between her cool palms. Believe us. Believe us. He says bitterly, if you want me to believe you, why don't you do the job properly? Get out the editing machine and go to work on me. You can't simply talk me into rejecting the evidence of my own eyes. You were under drugs all the time, Michelson says. I've never taken drugs, except for what I ate in the meadow when I danced, and that came after I had watched the massacre going on for weeks and weeks. Are you saying that it's a retroactive delusion? No, Tom, Schwartz says. You've had this delusion all along. It's part of your therapy, your reconstruct. You came here programmed with it. Impossible, he says. Ellen kisses his fevered forehead. It was done to reconcile you to mankind, you see. You had this terrible resentment of the displacement of your people in the 19th century. You were unable to forgive the industrial society for scattering the Sioux, and you were terribly full of hatred. Your therapist thought that if you could be made to participate in an imaginary modern extermination, if you could come to see it as a necessary operation, you'd be purged of your resentment and able to take your place in society as... He thrusts her away. Don't talk idiocy. If you knew the first thing about reconstruct therapy, you'd realize that no reputable therapist could be so shallow. There are no one-to-one correlations in reconstructs. No, don't touch me. Keep away. Keep away. He will not let them persuade him that this is merely a drug-born dream. It is no fantasy, he tells himself, and it is no therapy. He rises. He goes out. They do not follow him. He takes a copter and seeks his brothers. Again, I dance. The sun is much hotter today. The eaters are more numerous. Today I wear paint. Today I wear feathers. My body shines with my sweat. They dance with me, and they have a frenzy in them that I have never seen before. We pound the trampled meadow with our feet. We clutch for the sun with our hands. We sing, we shout, we cry. We will dance until we fall. This is no fantasy. These people are real, and they are intelligent, and they are doomed. This I know. We dance. Despite the doom, we dance. My great-grandfather comes and dances with us. He too is real. His nose is like a hawk's, not blunt like mine, and he wears the big headdress, and his muscles are like cords under his brown skin. He sings, he shouts, he cries. Others of my family join us. We eat the oxygen plants together. We embrace the eaters. We know, all of us, what it is to be hunted. The clouds make music, and the wind takes on texture, and the sun's warmth has color. We dance. We dance. Our limbs know no weariness. The sun grows and fills the whole sky, and I see no eaters now, only my own people, my father's fathers across the centuries, thousands of gleaming skins, thousands of hawks' noses, and we eat the plants, and we find sharp sticks and thrust them into our flesh, and the sweet blood flows and dries in the blaze of the sun, and we dance, and some of us fall from weariness, and we dance, and the prairie is a sea of bobbing headdresses, an ocean of feathers, and we dance, and my heart makes thunder, and my knees become water, and the sun's fire engulfs me, and I dance, and I fall, and I dance, and I fall, and I fall, and I fall. Again, they find you and bring you back. They give you the cool snout on your arm to take the oxygen plant drug from your veins, and then they give you something else so you will rest. You rest, and you are very calm. Ellen kisses you, and you stroke her soft skin, and then the others come in, and they talk to you, saying soothing things, but you do not listen, for you are searching for realities. It is not an easy search. It is like falling through many trapdoors, looking for the one room whose floor is not hinged. Everything that has happened on this planet is your therapy, you tell yourself, designed to reconcile an embittered aborigine to the white man's conquest. Nothing is really being exterminated here. You reject that and fall through and realize that this must be the therapy of your friends. They carry the weight of accumulated centuries of guilt and have come here to shed that load, and you are here to ease them of their burden, to draw their sins into yourself and give them forgiveness. Again, you fall through and see that the eaters are mere animals who threaten the ecology and must be removed. The culture you imagined for them is your hallucination, kindled out of old churnings. You try to withdraw your objections to this necessary extermination, but you fall through again and discover that there is no extermination except in your mind, which is troubled and disordered by your obsession with the crime against your ancestors. And you sit up, for you wish to apologize to these friends of yours, these innocent scientists whom you have called murderers, and you fall through. You've been listening to pre-1990s speculative fiction readings with a highlight on science fiction by Darrell T. Smith II. Please consider clicking the donation link in the description box. Thank you so much for your time and your imagination.